Change your heart, change your life, change the planet.
Hey everybody, it's Tim Van Orden coming to you from the Pine Valley Trail in Woodford, Vermont. Enjoying one of the last days here of April, and I'm not sure how much longer the snow is going to last. We had some warm days and some rain, and there's still well over a foot in the woods, but warm weather and rain can get rid of it pretty quickly. So getting out here and enjoying it while I can. And as I'm out here, I'm thinking about my goals. What am I up to? Why am I doing this? Or why am I doing this? What's my mission in life now? And why should I share it? What's the value in it? So I thought, here's another opportunity to share what I've learned in the past 20 years. There's some more moose. Chews. Oh wow, there's a whole line of moose eating the bark off the trees. Right there. And these guys over here. Wow, they totally smoked this hemlock tree. Ripped it up real good. So a lot of active moose out here. And you know what? That's a good segue into this conversation, because many in the vegan community or the natural community have a belief that the natural world is perfect, and if we were just to leave it alone and bring ourselves back into a more natural state, a state of this perfect Eden that used to be, and the animals live in this perfect state. The animals live in harmony with the natural environment, and it's us dirty, nasty humans that muck everything up. But if you've ever spent time in the natural environment, you'll see things like this, where moose just go through and destroy tree after tree after tree. Or what I'm running by over here is a beaver pond, and I'll show you the dam here in a second, where the beaver chopped down hundreds of trees to build a dam, kill all the vegetation in the area, and then they have an environment that's suited to them. So here's the dam right here. You see it behind me. It's a pretty major feat of engineering. And they've created this. Whoa! So here's the beaver dam and the beaver pond. And you could say, wow, it's beautiful. Look at this little mountain pond here that was created by these beavers. And you can see, I'm going to try to point to it. Right out there is the beaver den. It's that pile of debris. That's where they're living. They're changing the environment. Maybe not to the degree that a human being does, but they're clearly changing the environment to suit their needs. All animals do this to a degree. Humans happen to do it more. But the idea that there's this natural perfection and that we're screwing the whole thing up, and the woods would be this place of peace and harmony, or the natural world would be a place of peace and harmony if we would just leave it alone. It's simply not true. There's no evidence whatsoever to support that. That doesn't mean that we're not harming certain ecological systems. We are. But here we go again. Here's a moose killing this young hemlock tree. So this tree will die because it's been girdled by the moose. Moose wants to live, so it kills things in order to live. Is the moose evil or bad? No. So what I've learned is that there is no perfect state of balance. There is no perfect state of harmony. There's flow, there's change, there's cycles. Things come and go, things rise and fall. And humans get stuck in these ideologies of perfection, of harmonious unity, where everything will finally get along one day, and there's no history of that. There's history of great upheavals. There's history of all life on Earth almost being wiped out and then new life emerging. It's happened several times. The many great extinctions, and that's nature. That's what's real. Or you can look at what George Carlin said about global warming. He's like, people are trying to save the planet. The planet's fine. It's us that's screwed. Planet's fine. We're in trouble, and other animals are in trouble as well because of what we're doing. But the planet, life, it'll move on, it'll evolve, it'll adapt. And I don't want to force that adaptation. I don't want to force that evolution. I want to make sure that I'm conscious of my choices to the best of my ability. But I also realize that being a modern human, I am having an enormous impact. And I could forgo my impact. I could do that, and maybe that would make me feel good. That would make me somehow feel morally superior, like I'm one of the few that's doing my part. But an ever-growing population of human beings consuming would easily eclipse any savings that I made, and the earth would go the way the earth is going under our stewardship. So I choose to remain in the world, in the midst of a technological conversation. So where am I going? What is my mission? My mission is not to escape from the world. My mission is to go out into the world, into natural environments, into places that scare me, places that challenge me, and to places within me that scare me and challenge me, to face my own discomfort, my own inadequacies, my own contradictions, my own ignorance, and then to work with that, to learn from that, to grow with that, and not to ever believe that perfection is possible, but to realize that death is 100% likely, and that someday I will be facing it. And in the meantime, I can face it a little bit each day. I can face being frightened each day. I can face uncertainty each day, and not try to escape death, and not try to, or not fall victim to ideologies or belief systems that tell me I will never die, or that keep death out of the conversation so that I don't have to face it. Like being a raw foodist. I'm de-aging. I used to say this in my videos. I believed it. I am de-aging. I'm turning the clock backwards. But the only thing I was turning backwards was my growth. My character. I was becoming more innocent. I was becoming what I thought was more compassionate, but we use the word nice. I was becoming nicer. And the funny thing is that the word nice comes from the Latin necius, where ne means not, and cias comes from scire or scire. I'm not sure if they pronounce the C, but S-C-I-R-E, which means to know. So necius means not knowing. So to be nice means to be ignorant. It means to be unaware. It's not a nice word, at least how it was originally used. And you see this so often with people that are cheerleaders of an ideology, cheerleaders of a faith. They want to be nice. They want to do the nice thing. But nice and compassionate are not the same. Compassion requires that you get into the ugliness, that you get into the pain, you get into the suffering, and you hold it, you comfort it. And comfort means with strength. That's what the word means. Com forte, fortis, strength. But most people think that comfort is about running away to the easy place. It's not. Comfort is to move towards the place that scares you with strength, to hold it with patience, which means to be with your suffering. So that's not nice. That's compassionate. To be nice is to say, oh, don't worry, it's fine, you're never gonna die. Oh no, sweetie, don't worry, no, you're not gonna die, your dog didn't die. No, it's just in a better place now, it's still around, it's just in a better place. That's nice. Oh no, you're not ill, don't worry. You're fine, you're gonna get through this. I'm gonna tell you nice things, I'm gonna be nice to you. But that's not compassionate. I'm not helping you deal with it. I'm helping you avoid it. I'm helping you escape it in your mind, in your story. But I'm not helping you escape it in reality. And this is where I was for a long time. Needing to escape, wanting to escape. And I see this so often on this path, watching YouTube videos from people that are quite popular and reading books, self-help books that are quite popular. And any of you that read or listened to my book of Compassionate Approach, I say in the beginning, this book is not self-help because I don't want to help the self. That's not the part that we need to help. We need to help the rest of you. We need to help your being, your body, your entirety, not just your conscious narrative, aka the self, or what people often refer to as the ego. That's not what we want to help. And you see my eyes wandering because the trail has melted and is now a stream about 5 meters. So that's the truth, that's the reality. Now I could escape from this and I could turn around and I could go backwards on the trail and say, yeah, no, the trail's fine, the trail's wonderful, and I could show you a video where the trail is snow covered the entire way and it's easy to get from point A to point Z, but that's not the truth. The truth is, I'm gonna get wet. That's the truth. I'm gonna go through the thing that's uncomfortable. I'm gonna make the choice that is more challenging because now I can continue on my path. Now I can continue learning, I can continue growing, and I can see what's up ahead rather than just seeing what's in my head. And that's behind me. I didn't want to do it, but it's already over, it's behind me. And my feet are fine. I'll just keep moving, I'll keep pushing forward. And did it really require a whole lot of strength to do that? No, not really. But it required a pause, it required some reflection, and it required choosing. Easy path or the path that actually moves me forward. And I chose that one. But is there a huge cost to me for making this choice? No, not in reality, not since I made it. So I hope you can hear this. It's really windy. It's pretty chilly. It's in the low 40s with a strong wind. Anyway, so when I engage in this work and when I talk to people that want to change, especially inside of a coaching relationship, I always ask them, who is it that wants to change? What part of you wants to change? And what does that change look like? Why is that change important? And how are you going to change? Because as I've talked about in the earlier videos, the part of you that wants to change is not the part of you that's actually in the world. It's not the part of you that's going to do the work. It's the part of you that lives inside of a simulation, and it imagines. It imagines you at a finish line, but it doesn't feel the work that took place to get you to that finish line. It's not in the process, it's just in the product. So, which part of you wants to change and why? Whenever there is a desire to change, you have to look at, well, how am I judging where I am now or who I am now? Because if I believe change is necessary, then clearly my belief or my opinion is that this me right here is not good. I don't like it. It's got to change because it's somehow subpar. It's embarrassing, perhaps. It's inadequate. It's inferior. It's disgusting. Or it just doesn't feel good. Or it's unattractive, unappealing. Whatever the feeling is, or the combination of feelings, like the feeling in my forearm right now as I try to hold this boom. It's exhausting. Whatever those feelings are, they're coming from this abstract version of you. They're not coming from the you that's in the world, feeling and touching and smelling and tasting and seeing and hearing. That's not the you that's making the judgment. The seeing that you're doing is the seeing of a visual screen inside of your head, your mind's eye, and I as in capital letter I. Your mind's ego, your mind's identity, your mind's concept of who you are rather than who you actually are in the world. So we have conscious, which is essentially being awake in the world, to know. Conscious means to know, with knowing, and it goes back to that word sire in Latin, con sire, with knowing, or to know thoroughly. But that requires that you're actually in the world. And most of the time, we're not experiencing conscience, which is the same word as conscious, consciere, conscience. Science comes from sire, to know. So we're not experiencing conscience, we're experiencing prescience, which is to know in advance, to know before. So we've already decided how things are before we actually get to know them, before we get to experience them. So we have a hierarchy in our heads. There is the me that is prescient, or should I say the I that is prescient, and then there is the me that is conscient or conscientious. So we have an I that knows how things are before we interact with them because it's superior. And then we have the me, which is the version, the body, the being, all of me that's in the world that knows things because it interacts with them. There is no interaction with prescience. There's just a simulation. And these simulations are the cause of most of our suffering. And this is what many of the Eastern religions and philosophies talk about, Maya, the illusion. It's not that the world is an illusion, it's that your version of the world is an illusion. The world is real, but the map or the model of the world that you're living inside of isn't. That's the illusion. Not the outside, but how you represent the outside, inside, and how you react and respond to your model rather than to the world around you. That we think we are conscious, we think we are conscientiously acting, but we are presciently reacting. We're not conscious so much as we are prescient. And I want to squeeze those words. I want to make conscient shortened for conscientious. That's a new word, conscient. That's what we are. If we're in the world. We're prescient when we're in our model of the world. Whew. Oh boy, steep hill, long boom. I made the boom longer today, which is really putting my forearm at a significant leverage disadvantage in holding up this camera. And it's smoking me, as is this climb. So where am I going with this? Back to this idea of change, back to this idea of perfection. You know, the world needs to be better or more perfect, and I have an idea in my head of what a perfect world looks like. Or my body needs to be better, my life needs to be better, and I've got a perfect idea, image in my head, in my prescience of what that is. And then I look at my body in the mirror, it's like, God, well, that's not it. I look at my life in the mirror and I'm like, that's not it either. And we have two choices. We pretend that that's not a real body, or that body doesn't matter. We don't say that's me in the mirror. We say that body or my body like it's a thing that we own or possess. It doesn't matter. And then we live in these fantasies of us being an untethered soul, to quote Michael Singer. And I think that's really dangerous because it takes away responsibility and we become victims. We're still going to face suffering. We're still going to face disappointment. Those things don't disappear. They don't go away. They just, we avoid them for a while. And then they eventually come back to bite us, and they bite us so much harder than they would have if we were conscient, if we were getting our knowledge from the world and our body being in that world and seeing how our thoughts impact the world and our body rather than pretending. So we pretend rather than tend. We're not actually tending. We're just pretending inside of our prescience. So what I've learned, one of the biggest things I've learned, is that when you're going to set a goal, when you want to change, the thing or the change that's really going to have the greatest impact is the change to be kinder with yourself, to be kinder to the world, rather than saying, my body is wrong, inadequate, inferior, disgusting, my life is wrong, the world is wrong, everything's got to change except my perspective. Well, to be kind means to see commonality. That's what kind means. Like kindred, one of a kind. Kin, as in children. These words all mean like. So when we like something, it is because it feels like us. And we happen to like the things like us. We like the people like us. That's built in. And part of compassion is widening that circle of what you are like. And the moment you widen the circle of what you are like or what is like you start to like more things. You start to suffer less. So if we are kinder to our body, what we are saying is that this body is not separate from me. It's not different from me. It's just like me. In fact, we're related. We're kin. And I'm going to treat my body as if it were kin. I'm going to hold it dear rather than reject it, rather than disown it or try to surgically alter it. I'm going to say, wait a minute. I am the conscious steward of my body. I am the defense attorney for my body. I am the advocate looking out for the part of me that can't speak, for the part of me that can't plan, for the part of me that doesn't have the same skill sets that my conscious identity does. That's my job, to be its steward, to be gentle, to be kind. My body doesn't have the education that my mind does. So what do I use that education for? To create chaos in the world, to create suffering in the world, to create pain in the world, or pain in my body? Or do I use it to alleviate suffering and to be kinder in the world by first learning how to be kind with my body, with my being, not seeing it as separate, disposable, exchangeable, whatever your belief system is, but seeing it as your ancestor, just like you. It is you. It gives rise to you. Kill it and you stop. Do stupid things and it will suffer and you will suffer along with it. And so, I'm not going to tell you this is easy. I'm not going to tell you this is something to get really excited about, because if we go back to that word scire or scire in Latin, science, knowing, if you look at the root of that word, to know, it actually means to cut. It means to divide, to separate. And that's how we know things, when we separate them, when we cut them open, when we take a look inside, when we don't walk away from it and say in advance with prescience, I already know what that is. I don't need to look inside. I don't need to open it up. In fact, I don't want to. It's going to hurt if you open it up. Please don't cut it. Please don't cut me. Please stay away from my mind. Don't try to psychoanalyze me. Don't you dare cut me open. I don't want to know what's in there. But that's what you have to do, because it's eating you from the inside. And you think it's some external solution that's going to fix it. A drug, a pill, a surgery, a new thing that you buy, a new website, a new video on YouTube. That's it. That'll fix it. What are they going to say next? The answer's on the inside, and you got to cut it open to take a look, to find out, to shed some light on it. And do you want to cut it with a blunt instrument and create all kinds of damage? Or do you want to surgically, very precisely, create the least amount of damage possible? It's going to hurt. But if you cut it with compassion, it's quick and it does as little damage as possible. And it opens it up and lets the light in. And now you know. You know what's in there. You know what you're made of. And that's why I'm always doing things like this, because they cut me and they help me to know. They help me to find out who I am, and they separate the wheat from the chaff. What about my beliefs is real, and what about my beliefs is convenient? What about my beliefs just feels good and allows me to remain the hero without taking any action? I'm a good person. Are you? Are you sure? How do you know you're a good person? What horrible situations have you been in to see if you remain a good person? How many times have you put yourself in the midst of discomfort to see if you remain a good person? I want to know. So this is what I do. I challenge my beliefs that I'm a compassionate man. Maybe I'm not. I want to know. I don't want to just have that belief and be proud of it. I want to find out by finding in. So don't be nice. Be kind. And if you find value in this conversation and you want to work towards kindness, leave a comment. Let's talk about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like this channel, subscribe and click the bell icon. If you want to support this process, come on over to Patreon, $1 or $2 a month. And I'm really, really grateful for all of you that are part of that journey with me. And I will see you soon. Peace.